Imagine knowing thousands of English words, but freezing the moment you try to speak. Your mind suddenly whispers, "What if my grammar's wrong?" So you stay silent. But here's the surprising truth most teachers never tell you. Grammar isn't the wall stopping you from speaking. In fact, if you understand one simple idea about grammar, everything suddenly becomes easier. And in the next 5 minutes, you'll see grammar in a way that makes English feel clear, logical, and far less scary. Let's start with the biggest misunderstanding about grammar. Most learners believe grammar is a giant collection of rules you must memorize before you can speak correctly. But that idea creates fear, and fear creates silence. The truth is much simpler. Grammar is not a wall. Grammar is a tool, nothing more. At its core, grammar is just a system that shows how words work together to create meaning. That's it. Grammar is not a test waiting for you to fail. It's not punishment for making mistakes, and it's definitely not meant to scare you. Grammar is simply the structure of a language. Think of it like the human body. Words are the muscles. They give language power and movement. But grammar is the skeleton, the structure that holds everything together. Without that structure, language becomes messy, confusing, and difficult to understand. Let's look at a quick example. Imagine someone says, "Store I yesterday go to." You probably understand the idea, but something feels wrong. The message is broken. Now listen to the same idea with grammar. I went to the store yesterday. Same words, same meaning, but now the message is clear and natural. That's what grammar really does. It organizes words so other people can understand you quickly and easily. In other words, grammar equals meaning plus order. English in particular depends heavily on word order. Change the order and you change the meaning. For example, dog bites man. Now switch the order. Man bites dog. Same words, but suddenly the situation becomes very different. Grammar tells us who is doing the action and who is receiving the action. And once you understand that idea, grammar becomes much less mysterious. Because beneath all the complicated explanations, English sentences actually follow a very simple pattern. Here's something fascinating about language. Nobody is born knowing grammar rules. No child studies verb charts. No child memorizes grammar textbooks. And yet, children learn to speak their language fluently. How? They listen, they imitate, they repeat. Day after day, their brain hears thousands of sentences. Slowly, without even realizing it, the brain begins to detect patterns. This is how natural language learning works. At first, children often say things that are grammatically incorrect. For example, a child might say, "I goed there." That sentence is wrong. But notice something important. It's actually logical. The child understands the pattern. Walk becomes walked. Play becomes played. So the brain assumes go becomes goed. Later, after hearing adults say went, the brain quietly updates the pattern. No textbook, no grammar lecture, just exposure and repetition. This is exactly how humans naturally learn language. So why does grammar feel so difficult in school? Because many learners study grammar in a very different way. Instead of hearing real sentences, they see explanations like this. Present perfect continuous is formed by. Immediately, the brain feels overwhelmed. Too many technical words, too many formulas. But language doesn't work like mathematics. Language is a skill. Think about riding a bicycle. You could read a manual about balance, movement, and physics, but that wouldn't teach you how to ride. Eventually, you have to get on the bicycle and practice. The same thing is true for speaking English. You can study grammar rules for years and still struggle to speak naturally. Because grammar knowledge and speaking ability are not the same thing. One is information, the other is performance.
And that brings us to an important truth many learners don't hear often. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake many English learners make. They wait. They wait until their grammar is perfect before they start speaking. They think, my grammar is not good enough yet. I need to study more rules, maybe later when I'm ready. But the reality is, perfect grammar does not create speaking. Speaking creates better grammar. Language improves because you use it, not before. Imagine you say a sentence like this: yesterday I go to work. Is it perfect? No. But does the listener understand you? Absolutely. The message is clear. Communication happened. And that's the real purpose of language. Over time, as you hear more English and use it more often, your brain begins to adjust naturally. You start noticing patterns. You hear people say, I went to work yesterday. And slowly, without forcing it, your brain updates the sentence structure. This is how improvement really happens, step by step, conversation by conversation, mistake by mistake. Silence, on the other hand, improves nothing. Every moment you avoid speaking is a moment your brain misses the chance to learn. So remember this: grammar is not the prison. It doesn't exist to judge you. It exists to support your ideas and help people understand you more clearly. Instead of thinking, I must master grammar before I speak, start thinking this: I will improve my grammar by speaking every day. Speak simply, listen carefully, notice patterns, and let your English grow naturally. If this video helped you see grammar differently, share it with another English learner who might need to hear this. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more simple, honest English lessons. Keep learning, keep speaking, and remember, grammar supports fluency, but communication creates it. See you in the next video.